Loaves and Fish's mission is to provide nutritious food in an atmosphere of kindness and respect to individuals in need who reside in Ayr, Devens, Dunstable, Groton, Harvard, Littleton, and Shirley. There are no income requirements. If you need help with food, visit loavesfishespantry.org or call us at 978-772-4627.
Hi everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for coming to our Quilt Raffle Drawing. We're really excited to have you. I'm Patty Stern, Executive Director at Loaves and Fish's Food Pantry, and with me today is Scott Lewis.
I'm Scott Lewis, I'm a former board member at the pantry and an active volunteer in the communications and community outreach, and I'm delighted to be here with Patty today to talk about this quilt drawing.
That's great. I thought maybe today, Scott, we'd talk just a little bit about the history of the pantry, since we have a very big event coming up that we're celebrating or acknowledging, and that's our 40th anniversary. So I just thought I'd take our viewers back to 1983, when our program started out as a hot meal program. And it was the brainchild of just a few women who in Harvard thought, our neighbors are hungry. What can we do to help them? So in that first year, they had 50 families. They served them, but they knew there was more that could be done. So shortly after that, they turned to a pantry kind of model, and we have that 40 years later. We actually have had a number of homes in Devens and in Ayr. We are now at 234 Barnum Road, and we purchased that place for $1 and a can of peas. I love telling that story. Thanks to Mass Development and their generosity, we have a beautiful home. We actually did some reconfiguration of it back in 2018 because we were running out of space. Many things have changed since 1983, but our mission remains the same, and that's to provide nutritious food in an atmosphere of kindness and respect to our neighbors who are struggling to make ends meet. I think one of the things that's really unique about Loaves and Fishes is that we not only give folks shelf-stable food like a lot of pantries do, but we're also providing them with fresh and frozen items and breads and pastries, milk vouchers to a local grocery store, eggs, everything you can think of, they have. And I think we're really fortunate to be able to do that, and we can only do that with the generosity of our community. Just so that folks get an idea of what our clients walk away with each time they visit, they receive approximately $300 to $400 worth of groceries, could be even as high as $500 with the prices of groceries now. So we think that that will really, really help them with their budgets.
That obviously varies by family size.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think another really important piece about our program that's very unique is that we offer a counseling section. We have 2 counselors on deck. They're not doing in-depth counseling, but they are providing resources and referrals, so folks who are in a difficult situation will know where to turn for things like Mass Health or food stamps or fuel assistance. So that's all really important, and I think those things make us very unique.
The pantry is an amazing operation, and some events have thrown challenges at the pantry in the last decade, these new 10 years since the 30-year anniversary when we did another big event. The federal government shut down. That brought new clients to the pantry that were not the families we normally see, and the pantry rose to that occasion and managed to help those folks out. And in turn, after the shutdown ended, we got some help back from some of those individuals and organizations. Until the pandemic, one of the things that the pantry did that made it a little different than other pantries, of course, was we were a client choice pantry, which meant clients came in and they went through the pantry like a grocery store and chose certain things from different categories based on their own tastes and needs. The pandemic threw a big challenge to that situation. We couldn't have all those people indoors and still operate, and in order to continue to feed people, we completely changed the pantry to a drive-through operation so that we could continue to help. We did 2 different teams of staff so that if one team had a person who caught COVID, the other team could keep operating. We made a lot of changes to accommodate that. And then more recently, we're growing and changing yet again we've started to introduce an online ordering program, which is a really nice way for clients to be able to go online, tell us what they need before they come to pick it up, and make us more efficient at delivering the right kinds of foods for different dietary needs or cultural dietary influences and so forth. It's really been an exciting time at the pantry. Can you give us a little bit of information about sort of the size of the operation, the number of households that are fed?
I sure can. Scott, you're one of our wonderful volunteers. We have close to 400 volunteers. You're one of them. You've actually been instrumental in making our online program work, so thank you for doing that. We truly appreciate that, and you've done so many other things for us. So our volunteers are a really big piece of our program. So 300 to 400 of those folks coming in, not on a daily basis, but doing all kinds of things to support the pantry, whether it's driving to pick up donations or sorting and stocking our inventory, or doing things like what you have to help us from a technology perspective. But the number of households we serve has really fluctuated in the past years. At our highest point, which was around the recession, around 2007, 2008, we served nearly 1,000 households, well over 2,000 individuals. And now we're down to about 700 households, but that's still significant. We're not going away anytime soon. Those 700 households or so last year visited about 5,300 times. It's a lot of visits and it's a lot of food. Our viewers might be interested to know that about 76% of those who come to our pantry, they earn less than $40,000 a year. Many of them are retired or disabled. They're not going away. They're going to continue to live on fixed incomes, and they're going to need us for the time to come. Some of the other things that I'm really proud of at the pantry is that 85 cents of every donation, every $1 that's donated goes directly towards client services. That's very important. You don't often find too many nonprofits that can say that that's how we spend our money. We spend it very wisely. So those are some of the current statistics. I'm not sure that we mentioned the communities that we service, and that's 7 communities in the area: Air, Devens, Dunstable, Groton, Harvard, Littleton, and Shirley. And of course, we'd never turn anyone away who came from outside of those communities. We'd give them food for a few visits, and then the most important thing that we can give them is resources and referrals to a place within their own community that they can go to get help. Can you tell us a little bit about, now that we've gone through all the statistics, can you share with us some of the things that are going on from your role as our community outreach and relations committee member? You know some of the things that are going on are upcoming. Would you share those with us?
Absolutely. This is a big year. So, Loaves and Fishes has been doing this for 40 years now. And as a result, we not only have some of our normal events coming up, which I'm happy to talk about, but we also have some events that are a little bit new and different. Some are still in the planning stages, so I'm not going to go into detail on those until we have more information about them. We have an event coming up on Monday, April 8th, which is called Soup for Your Soul. And that's going to feature some area restaurants and their signature soups, and it's an opportunity to join Loaves and Fishes, tour the pantry, and reflect on the past 40 years and acknowledge those who have made it possible. We also have National Volunteer Appreciation Month coming up throughout April, and that's a great opportunity for us to show our gratitude to all the people you mentioned that make this possible. 360 plus volunteers, numerous donors, both on the business side, but also more than 60% of our donors are individuals. And they're very, very important to the operation. And donors in a food pantry is both donors of financial support, but also donors of food. And we're going to talk about another piece of the puzzle in just a moment. Before I get there, I want to mention that on Cinco de Mayo, Sunday, May 5th at 1 p.m., we have our annual Spring into Action 5K fundraiser for the pantry. And that's a wonderful event that takes place in Devens. You start in Rogers Field, and there's a course that you can walk around on the sidewalks around the area. You do your 5K, walking or a fun run. It's not a race per se, but it's a great opportunity to run or walk with family and friends as a team from your neighborhood, from your family, from an organization, from a company or a school. It's also an opportunity for area businesses to sponsor the event. And of course, we need some volunteers to to operate the event. If you're interested in the Loaves and Fishes Spring into Action 5K, you can go to our primary website, or you can visit the website specific to that event, which is just L as in loaves, F as in fishes, walk.org, so lfwalk.org. We also have the Postal Worker Food Drive coming up. Postal Worker Food Drive is on Saturday, May 11th, and you'll be seeing in your mailbox, if you're in one of our communities, a reminder postcard and a bag in which to place your donations, and then your postal worker will pick those up on the 11th and bring those to the pantry. That's a pretty big operation for bringing food into the pantry once a year. There's also a way for you to help bring food into the pantry on a more regular basis, and that is through the Neighborhood Food Project. This is something that began in Groton in 2014 for us. It was modeled after a program that's based in Oregon, and it establishes neighborhoods with a neighborhood coordinator, and the coordinator's job is to organize getting the food from all the neighbors in the neighborhood. Typically, you get 1 or 2 items a week and you set it aside until it's time for the collection to happen. Then the neighborhood coordinator arranges the volunteers to come and pick up all of that food and bring it to the pantry. And we have a new campaign for our 40th anniversary called 40 for 40. We're looking to add 40 new neighborhoods to the Neighborhood Food Project effort for Loaves and Fishes this year. So if you're not in a neighborhood that's already participating, and a neighborhood could be where you live, it could be your floor in an office building, or your department in a company, it could be your organization, it could be a sports team that you're part of. Any kind of a neighborhood works for the Neighborhood Food Project. If you're interested, go to the Loaves and Fishes website, which is loavesfishespantry.org, and look under the Donate Food section and learn more about the Neighborhood Food Project. Also at that Loaves and Fishes website, the loavesfishespantry.org, you can subscribe to our email list. And of course, you can also go to Facebook and follow us on Facebook if you're interested in keeping track of us there. As we announce these additional events that I alluded to, the details will show there. It takes a community to make this all possible. Patty, can you tell us a little bit more about our community?
I sure can. It's an amazing community. When I first started working at the pantry over 15 years ago, I was amazed at all the generosity and really the big hearts of not only our volunteers, but all the donors, the businesses, the houses of worship, the schools, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts. Everybody has a hand in it, and I can tell you, without exception, everybody comes to the pantry with their donations, visits the pantry, and they just are filled. Their hearts are filled. If only they could see the huge difference that they make to our clients. We hear stories every single day about how much the support from the community and Loaves and Fishes has meant in their lives. So yes, it is a community effort. It's a true community effort, and I'm proud to be part of it. We are grateful for our volunteers, our donors, our business partners, and we encourage folks who aren't part of the pantry yet to consider being part, whether it's volunteering or donating. So if you'd like to if you need some help, first of all, that's the most important piece, please give us a call. Contact us via the website. If you need that help, we're here for you. But if you'd like to help, we're also looking for more volunteers and more assistance. We could use folks with special skills, such as Scott, who has a technical background. We're thankful for Littleton Community TV for allowing us to film today. So we need skills like that. If you have administrative skills, if you have an idea and you want to be part of a fundraising event, we're absolutely open to that. So come and visit us. So now, before we do our drawing, we're going to show you a quick video about Maureen Clapp, who is the creator of this beautiful quilt that we're about ready to raffle off. So stay tuned.
It's a beautiful quilt, and it's going to be a great quilt for somebody to win in the drawing. Let's take a look.
Your heart explodes when you are giving back to the community. Hi, I'm Maureen Clapp, and I made the Exploding Heart quilt for Loaves and Fishes raffle. I've been quilting for about 30 years. My mom was a sewer. She sewed all our clothes, and out of 4 girls, I'm the only one that took up sewing. First with making doll clothes, then with making regular clothes for myself, and then progressed into quilting. So the Exploding Heart pattern by Slice of Pie Quilts, I had always wanted to make this pattern, and I made it once for my niece's graduation this past May, and I loved it so much. It came out so beautifully. I thought this would be a great raffle quilt to raffle off for a fundraiser. I had asked Patty if she would like me to make a quilt for a fundraiser if they ever had one, and she was very accepting to that idea. So the pattern is made up of half square triangles and quarter square triangles, and then all of those come together to make the pattern itself. So what we do is we put a background fabric, which I chose to use white, and the 5.5-inch squares that I chose, and we make a mark diagonally from one corner to the other, and then we're going to sew, and once we do that, we'll cut on the line, and we have 2 half square triangles. And then sew them together. It's almost like a building block. You sew parts together to make a block, and then you sew the blocks together to make rows. You sew the rows together to make the quilt. My favorite part is putting it together. My least favorite part is ironing. I do not like to iron, but it has to be done. So once the 3 pieces of the quilt are done, the top, the batting, and the backing, I attach it to, the backing goes to these 2 poles, the top goes onto this pole, and the batting in the middle, and then I can use my long arm to make designs for the quilt, putting the 3 pieces together. This goes back and forth, up and down. It makes circles. I can use rulers to make straight lines and make designs. And then when it's all done, I have a quilt to either use for personal use, or the majority of my quilts I give away. I give to people so they can make money on their fundraisers. All of my quilts are machine washable, dryable. They're 100% cotton, and they're made to be enjoyed, to be used all the time.
I am so thrilled today to have Maureen Clapp with me, the creator of this beautiful quilt. Welcome, Maureen. And
thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh.
We really appreciate it. You did an awesome job with that segment, working with our production crew. Wonderful job. So I just want to have you remind me, how did you come to be with Loaves and Fishes as a volunteer?
Well, I saw an ad in the paper about looking for volunteers for Thanksgiving. It was either Thanksgiving or Christmas holiday. And when I went, I really enjoyed the process. And that was quite a few years ago. I ended up taking a little bit of a break, and then came back during actually the pandemic, at that point the pantry had all changed. But I like to do the sorting, and so it worked out well for me. So, yeah.
That's great, Maureen. And you brought to us one of our new staff members, your husband, Ed. And
yes.
He drives our truck, and we're so glad to have him on board. Thanks for drawing him into the pantry. We appreciate that. So this quilt is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
You have truly perfected your craft. I have no idea how you do this, but you mentioned in the segment that you've been quilting for 30 years. That's pretty amazing. How many quilts have you made?
We were talking about that. I probably have made over 50, maybe way more. As I said, most of them I give away. I have made Ed quite a few, but other than that, I give them to for fundraisers or family members, DCF.
Wonderful.
Charity quilts. Yeah.
What are your favorites? What's your couple of favorites?
Well, this one actually turned out to be quite a favorite of mine, and I loved how it came together. I love all of them, and really by the time I finish them, I don't want to give them away because you become so attached to them. But,
Wow,
so.
okay. So how long does it take to make a quilt like this? I imagine many, many, many hours.
It is many hours of planning, cutting, ironing, which I don't like,
We heard.
and sewing. But you know, it goes by fast, and as long as you're organized, it works out quite well. But yeah, and I try to give myself enough space, but I'm usually the person sewing the label on in the car as as Ed's driving me to whatever function I'm giving it away to.
Very good, very good. So is there any special way you get inspiration like for this one? What inspired you to do this one?
What inspired me is the pattern itself. I really always loved the pattern and the fact that you could make it in just such bright colors. I love this particular designer of this fabric, and I knew it would work well for this pattern.
That's great. The stitching is just so intricate. I wish our viewers could really see the stitching. Do you follow a pattern, or do you create it as you go? You use that big long arm machine. Does it do all the work for you? How does that all work?
I do the work. It's all done by what's called free motion. So I'll pick a pattern that I like. It's either rulers or free motion, and then I'll just stand there and go to it.
I wish I had your talent. I really do. You know, Maureen, something that hit me during the segment that you just did, it really touched me. You said, your heart explodes when you give back to the community. What does it mean to you to give back to your community?
Well, to me, I mean, I love going to Loaves and Fishes and volunteering and know that I've done something really well for the day. And also like this, like making a quilt for a raffle, and that money, it's twofold. Somebody gets the quilt, but you also get the money to use as you see fit for your fundraiser, and I think that's important to me too.
Absolutely. You know, when you approached me and asked me if you could do a raffle for us, build a quilt, and you told me about the name of the quilt, Exploding Heart, it truly became my inspiration for the 40th anniversary, because that's what Loaves and Fishes is all about. It's all about heart.
Right.
And we have so many folks that are joining our team, whether they're volunteers or donors. They're giving of their heart, they're giving of their time, and they're helping their neighbors in need. And to me, it just comes right down to that one word, heart. I know that for the last 40 years, there have been so many generous volunteers and donors, and I imagine it will continue. We are fortunate to live in such a generous community. And you couldn't have chosen a better design than Exploding Heart. It's just perfect. So thank you, Maureen, for taking the time to spend a little bit of time with us and share with us your beautiful craft. And before we draw the lucky ticket, I thought I would take an opportunity to say thank you to everybody who purchased a ticket and participated in this raffle. We actually sold 942 tickets.
Wow.
It's amazing. And that translated to $1,680. And I can tell you, those funds will go a very long way to stocking our shelves, to providing nutritious food for our neighbors. And you know what? You just provided hope too through your efforts. So we really appreciate that.
So happy.
So shall we get to the drawing?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
you're up.
Oh,
go right ahead. Pick that
so
lucky
exciting.
winner. Do we have a drum roll somewhere?
We're going to mix them all around.
Yep.
See? Oh,
right.
I'm nervous. Okay.
Here
We're
comes
gonna
the
go.
lucky one.
This is it.
Oh, you get to read it.
Claudette H.
Claudette H., we will be in touch with you. You are the proud owner of this beautiful quilt. We can't wait to meet you. I'm sure Maureen will want to meet you as well. So we'll be-
Congratulations.
yes, we'll be in touch really soon. So again, Maureen, thank you so much for your time
you.
today and all of your effort. And to everybody who participated in this raffle, we really appreciate it. We appreciate you joining us today for a few moments to learn a little bit about the pantry. And if I could leave you with a few words, please remember that if you would like to be part of this wonderful Loaves and Fishes team, please call us. Please visit our website. We'd love to have you join. It's a great place. And equally as important, if you or someone you know needs help, please visit. We're here to help you. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Through the generosity of donors and volunteers like you, Loaves and Fishes helps more than 600 families throughout the year. To learn more about donating food, financial support, or your time and skills, visit the donate or volunteer pages at loavesfishespantry.org.